Wir hatten vorhin schon das Thema Flughafen oder Flugverkehr und kommen jetzt mit dem nächsten Pitch nochmals darauf zurück, und zwar das Thema Revolutionizing Airport Mobility, und das wird uns Diego Paez, er ist CSO und Co-Founder von DAAV. Habe ich es richtig? Did I pronounce it correctly?
Yes, DAAV.
So, welcome, and the stage is yours.
Thank you. So, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry today, please bear with me in English. I'll try to do my best for being clear. So today I'll bring you to a different world. I know you are everyone from the IoT community. 5G is the topic. 6G is the future. Now, we are bringing to a different field where we have AI-enabled robots. And in here, I hope to bring to you a new perspective of the needs in the future. Our company, DAAV, is a startup, it's a Swiss startup, and we want to bring a better mobility service for people with impairment. And in this case, I'll bring you specifically to the airports and how people with mobility impairments travel. So, people with mobility impairment are called passengers with reduced mobility. And this is not just people that are normally using wheelchairs. This is any one of us after suffering injury. If you cannot walk for 2 hours in a row, you will not be able to go to an airport and take an airplane. So you need this service. And this service is provided for everyone that needs it, free of charge. It's part of the International Federation of Aviation. Now, what is the current solution that is offered at airports? This is a manual labor. It's very intensive labor. The picture you see here is in Geneva Airport during COVID. So you could imagine how few airplanes were flying at that time. Now, it's not scalable. It is a very complex operation, managing people working shifts of 12 hours a day, and lacks freedom for people using the service. Our company brings a new device and a new technology to enable people to travel freely. We provide mobility as a service through a new device. It's an autonomous driving wheelchair. And let me show you a short clip that summarizes everything that we do in our company.
Offering mobility services to passengers with reduced mobility is a fundamental human right, and airports should provide these services free of charge. However, these services are labor-intensive and costly for airports or their PRM service providers.
Allez, coucher. C'est bien, tu restes. Hello, my name is Lawrence. I'm 25 years old, and I've been using a wheelchair for 3 years now. I had an accident, a sport accident, surfing at the ocean. I have been to the airport twice since my accident, and my past experience when I was at the airport, I actually missed my plane because of this accessibility problem that they had to take me off my wheelchair, put me on another wheelchair, have a whole service to push me around the airport.
That is why at DAAV we have developed the first autonomous robotic wheelchair with the ability to move omnidirectional. DAAV's technology is the result of years of research in robotics. Our patented technology offers omnidirectional movement capabilities, allowing the wheelchair to perform spot turns, lateral movements, and various combinations of these actions. DAAV can be controlled manually using a joystick, teleoperated or operated completely autonomously. In teleoperation mode, a lead device moves first, and other devices follow the lead. The autonomous navigation mode offers passengers the highest level of independence while reducing the workload on service providers. In all modes, the devices adhere to safety measures to prevent accidents and ensure the safety of passengers and those nearby. Currently, we are collaborating with Airline Assistance Switzerland to further develop the technology and address the needs of both passengers and service providers. As our next step, we need to develop more prototypes and tackle all the challenges we may encounter. Additionally, we plan to expand from Switzerland to other airports in Europe and beyond.
So, the technology we are providing is really a robotics device that we have designed. It allows the person to travel omnidirectionally, meaning in any direction, which is highly desired and required for navigating the complex environment that is crowds of people. This is the everyday of an airport. This solution, it comes also with being able to navigate autonomously. So we have the technology to navigate close with people using LiDAR technology, mostly, as our underlying method for navigation. And this technology, it doesn't come alone. So we need the IoT solution to manage a fleet of these robots going around the airport. Now, I'll explain you the business case very briefly, so you understand that this is a need for the people in the wheelchairs, for the people that want to have freedom while they travel, but at the same time, it needs to bring a good business for the customer. So our customers is not, at the end, the user of the wheelchair. It's the airport themselves. The airport must provide the service. Therefore, we offer the service to the airport and for passenger handling companies. And this is a short view of what could be the case in Zurich Airport, where we see the current operation cost is almost 11 million a year, and this is covered by every passenger traveling through the airport. Now, with the service that we could provide, we could reduce this cost less than 50%, just by taking over the operation 80%. There's always a 20% where you still need to have the manual wheelchairs, and you need to have someone for handling people with actual permanent impairments. So this is the kind of technology that is enabled, the kind of reduction in cost that is enabled through the technology we are bringing in. And of course, to achieve this, the main question is, how do we connect all these devices? They all need to be connected. They all need to have communication between them to understand and plan what is happening ahead. For control, it will be desirable to know the status of all devices around. And this is something we are already implemented in Zurich Airport, and we are collaborating now with Vienna Airport to test this technology there. The future that we see goes into localization. Currently, we have each of our devices is capable to localize and understand the environment uniquely, but having extra understanding of where we are through 5G will be a solution that makes cheaper the technology and make it easier to implement in the future. And finally, for the full automation of the fleet, having the communication of everyone where we are, having understanding of people around you, this would enable us to further advance the automation of the entire fleet system. Now, this is our team. My name is Diego Paez. I drive a lab at ETH Zurich, and this is our spin-off of the lab, collaborating with our co-founder, Mohsen Falahi, who is from EPFL. And we have a team of 5 engineers and collaborating with the school in Lugano, in SUPSI, to build this technology and bring it to the market. So this phrase I really like, and I want to share with you. For most people, technology makes things easier, but for people with disabilities, it makes things possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much. What a nice quote to explain the purpose of your organization.
Thank you.
We don't yet have questions, but I guess they will still come. So I would ask a question from my side. So you mentioned that your customers is not the individual client, but the airports. Is the idea of an autonomous driving wheelchair also an option that you sell it to individual clients? Or is that too complex regarding the software requirements?
Yeah, so really our company is focused right now in airports because there is a huge business case and a need for them. Therefore, we have a starting point to develop the technology because there are many phases. As you see, this is a robotic system. So there's a lot of mechanics, there's a lot of programming, a lot of software control, and then there's the IoT infrastructure. So it is quite complex to build this entire system. We need a sufficiently large customer to sustain the development of the technology. The future would be desirable that we could give this for people with permanent disability. But for achieving that, we need a lot of, at the end, cost reduction to really give it to the person. Otherwise, we don't reach that type of customers.
I thought of new solutions like Google Indoor Maps, and if suddenly these maps could be linked to your solution, suddenly maybe it would be an option.
Yes, indeed. We have explored this. Actually, Zurich Airport is the first airport in the world to have Google Maps embedded fully in the airport, and you can navigate with it. This doesn't, unfortunately, yet allow us to have the level of accuracy that we would like to have for indoor localization, and that is why we are exploring 5G as a solution. And this is the future of our work.
It's a nice example how now these things come together. Like we said in the morning, that the availability of different technologies are suddenly at an interesting tipping point. So now we got the questions, and happy to ask them on behalf of the audience. So the first one is about the business case. How do you finance the subscription models? Costs for chairs are upfront. So how did you start that?
So right now, the business case, it is that we will provide the service to already the requirement, depending on the number of passengers that goes through an airport. And therefore, they have a volume and a need. And this volume is satisfied because of due to the regulation in aviation, every ticket that the airport sells, they take apart, for example, in Switzerland, 1 franc that goes to this service. So the money is there in the airport to provide this service. So it's more like we bring in the technology as a service, and we don't sell the device, we provide the device as a service for them.
Then another question is, what does airports hinder to implement your solution? So are there showstoppers that you often hear when you pitch to an airport?
Of course, there are very still challenged into accepting the technology, because you will enable the person to go by themselves. So there are some regulatory overcomes that we have to go through. And overall, the main challenge is really if it's going to be accepted or not. But we have already run several studies in Zurich Airport where we show that it is fully possible. People will accept as long as the device can tell them where they are and where do they need to go. This is the thing that most people are afraid of.
That part I did not really get in the video, if I'm honest. So are there both solutions? So one is I can use the joystick and find my own way, and the other is I don't touch anything and I'm guided by a magical hand through the airport. Is it
exactly.
both?
So we have, actually, it's the same solution that is permanently on. So you go, you sit in the wheelchair, and at the moment you sit there, you put the gate you want to go to. And if you leave it, it will take you there. If you touch the joystick, automatically you take over control, but you always have a safety that never allows you to hit anything around you.
Okay, so it's a mix. And when I remember that I forgot my contact lens solution, I stop and I go to the shop, ideally, to get that. So, yes, that question was already answered. You are not involved with the wheelchairs, but the service model. By the way, why were the wheels so strange on the video?
So actually, the wheels are our patent from the company. We have developed a set of omnidirectional wheels. So if you know any cars, you normally have 4-wheel drive. In here, we have 3-wheel drive, which allow us to move laterally, which is totally required if you are in a very crowded space.
But in the design, you could do a little better, I would say. Huh? They look a bit, they look a bit funny.
Yes, we have many iterations, so this is one of them. Yes, yes.
And design is not the first thing to think of as a startup. I'm fully with you, totally with you. So the last thing is the charging of these wheelchairs. Can you share a few words about that? So the electricity or the
how
battery?
do we charge it? Yes, so very briefly, the new design is actually interconnected, so we stack them. It's actually one of the main requirements, and when you stack them, you interconnect them, and they're all charging at the same time.
So easy to connect overnight, and then in the morning they're ready.
Exactly.
Thank you very much for giving us insights in a topic where most of us are not really familiar, and also to you, good luck with your solution.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.